Welcome to Creative Feminine Rising and the interview series with the authors of Call of the Mystical Mountain. Creative Feminine Rising is a platform encouraging women to dive into the sacred and explore their own creativity as part of the rising new earth. And as part of that reality is Michele Newman, a high vibe priestess, sound healer, and ceremonialist. I'd like to welcome you, Michele. So we're going to talk a bit about your book participation, your chapter, and how all of that is impacting your life experience and what your life experiences brought you to this space. Yeah. So we thought it would be really beautiful to open up this conversation as a sacred space with some of Michele's connecting through sound with her sound bowl.
Shemeshki vonesha kwita mova vaniti konala makita meshishkola divi bilamo devani Hashamakata, Vashikati, Shke, Alamakati, Shvakata.
Thank you. As we open conversation as sacred space, I'm going to invite you to just share a little bit about why is it important to be able to create a ceremonial reality as you're moving through your day, even something as ordinary as a conversation on video.
It feels to me that creating ceremony in every moment is every moment, literally, because life is a prayer. If we live our life as a prayer, we're staying tuned into spirit, whatever you want to call spirit. We have many names. Everyone has their vision or their understanding of spirit. And whatever it is for you, it's very important to keep that connection from heaven to earth, because we live on this planet in 3D. And if we're running around the planet like everyone does, and we're not holding that sacred space, that's how people get anxiety. That's how they get stressed. That's why it's so everybody's got their going on, and people are crazy. Wars are happening. People are hungry. The world is not nourishing itself. And people are on the freeway flipping each other off or driving crazy, and all of these things happen when we're not staying in connection to the sacredness, to that moment, to that heart of spirit. And so I'm doing things all day. I'm getting in the car, I'm doing errands, I'm taking care of business, whatever it is I'm doing. And I just try to remind myself to stay in a prayerful, sacred state, no matter what it is. And when we're doing that, you know, Christians speak of this all the time. How are you treating other people? So
Yeah.
it's a way to
Well, you have a particular gift of working with sound, with your voice and with your crystal bowls. I know that is part of your life's work and how you support your private clients and run groups and ceremonies. And that you're suggesting just really needs to trickle into daily life to keep us connected with our hearts and with our
absolutely,
divine.
absolutely
Yeah.
bring heaven into earth.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I take that lesson in for myself too, even though I am indeed a ceremonialist and consider myself a holy woman. I forget. I forget. And I
Hey, I
fall
forget
into.
too. I forget too, Neesa. Ask my husband. My husband will tell you, oh, yeah, she loses her temper. We all forget. Got to remember, it's a constant reminder.
Yeah. Well, all of that said, I'd like to dive into some conversation about your book chapter and about Mount Shasta as an important source for us to find our connection, to nourish our connection, and to further our relationship with the divine. Your chapter called Two Eagles and a Hawk. I first read it in draft form several months ago when we were in a little ceremonial space together with other authors for the weekend. It was so beautiful, by the way.
It really
Um,
was. It was a great connection.
yeah, it was really special. And anyway, your chapter was pretty incredible. And I highly recommend people to go ahead and read it, especially if they need this deep reminder that you're not alone. You know, you are so not alone in this reality when you begin to open to possibility and invite relationship with the dimensions and the other beings that are existing in the invisible spaces. So you had an experience on Mount Shasta, and I know you've had many experiences on Mount Shasta over the years, but there was a particular experience you had there that activated the title of this chapter, Two Eagles and a Hawk, where you went into like altered state for weeks. And so tell us about that. Just however you want to begin.
Well, I've been I've been studying Native American medicine, Lakota and Cherokee for many years, since the 80s, literally. And so I was taught by my medicine woman teacher to do a Taslagi dance, and we created our shield, and so I started bringing in my totem animals, and the first one that came to me, of course, was eagle, because what? I'm an eagle woman, you know. I got this energy, you know, that sometimes scares people off because eagles are strong, and I've been living with eagle for since the 80s, and they're always with me, and I'm with them. And I've had many experiences with that. And then later Hawk came in. And I love to fly. I love to fly in the wind. My Lakota name is Wind Water Woman because I'm a water woman. I live by the ocean, and I do a lot of water sports, and I fly in the wind. I ride on the waves and I fly in the wind, and I just love watching birds fly. I mean, literally out. I've got a hawk in the tree, in my redwood tree behind my home. And, you know, I think I'm in a place where the hawk came to me. So the hawk could be right next to me in my backyard. And so I've been
Yeah.
flying with hawks and eagles, literally, spiritually. And When I say literally, I mean, I feel like I've done that. And so my spirit, my soul has flown with these birds many times, but it's been more like a moment or a half hour where I feel like, oh, I'm up there with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I've done this a lot. It's not new to me. But when did this happen? Sometime in the beginning of this century. I've been going up to Mount Shasta forever, since well, at least 30 years or more. And I'm an old, long time backpacker, hiker. I just love being outdoors. So, I've been for years and years backpacking up on Mount Shasta. And, of course, I see the hawks up there and having a good time. And this one particular time when I wrote this story, I connected with a hawk up there. When I go up there, I'm very deep in meditation. I mean, I could spend 2 weeks in this one place. My husband and I have this place. We call it our mansion on the hill, and it's a very particular place. We've been going for years and years. We spent our honeymoon there, and we know exactly where it is in the valley. And we hike up there, and we set up our tent and bring all of our backpacking things. And it's this little place on a hill overlooking a valley with the water running down through the valley. And, it's like, it's our place. I'm sure other people go there too, but when we go there, no one has ever been there. Somehow when we go there, it's totally private. And it's off the beaten path. You have to know exactly where it is. And so we're very meditative when we go there. We hike around, we move, we do things, but we really stay quiet. And we're so quiet. It's so interesting. We always, we're definitely backpacking people. Like, we know what all the equipment and things to bring. And we always bring our, freeze-dried backpacking foods and things. But the real fact is we end up not eating so much of our food. We're so internal, especially on Mount Shasta, where we're tuning into spirit, that we end up not eating very much. We end up, like, we might have one meal a day, and we're moving around a lot. We're being physical, but when I go into this meditative state and I'm not eating as much, I just tune in. And so I tuned into this eagle, and the eagle was hanging out, talking to me. I was listening. I'm a channel, I channel, I listen deeply within. I channel spirit, and this eagle was talking to me, and I was just listening, and I went, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, I was in a trance. I was in an altered space, and then it came time I had to come back home. Okay, so I came home, and here I am back at my desk. In those days, I was literally working in Silicon Valley. I had a job in tech. I come back, I'm sitting at my desk, I'm on my laptop, I'm doing my work. And well, it was on the weekend. It came on a Saturday. Okay, we'd been home for 2 weeks, and maybe 3 weeks. We'd been home. And, I'm not going to say work was drudgery, but compared to that experience, it was like, oh, okay, got to get to work. So I just was being disciplined and doing my job so I could pay my bills. And a Saturday came, and I said, let's go for a little hike. And we went for a hike in the trees here in Santa Cruz. There's plenty of places to hike. And we're in the forest. And all of a sudden, I'm like in the forest, just near my house. And I feel this energy, and my spirit starts going, whoop. Just literally, I felt an energy go, whoop. And all of a sudden, I saw this hawk from Mount Shasta, like 3 weeks after we'd returned home. And when I say saw, it was an inner vision. I felt it was like a clairvoyant feeling, and clairsentient. So here's the hawk. I mean, excuse me, did I say hawk? I meant eagle. Sorry. I felt this eagle from Mount Shasta. Up goes my spirit. I felt this energy rise, and all of a sudden, my soul, my spirit, my literal soul, was on the eagle in Mount Shasta, and I saw it. It's like an energy being on the back of the eagle, literally nested right inside its neck. And I went, oh, what's going on here? So I wasn't at work at that time. I was literally just having fun in the forest. So I had a lot of freedom to just be. And I felt myself being lifted right onto the back of the neck, you know, that little crook inside the neck of the bird. And I felt myself
Mhm.
sitting there. It's like, here I am. It wasn't me, my body, it was my spirit, my soul. But because my soul was on the bird, I could look around, you know, I could feel what my soul was doing. And my body started moving very slowly. And I didn't say anything to my husband. I was just kind of experiencing it. And I started feeling this energy, and I'm going, what's going on here? And the eagle said, we're going for a little soul journey. This is something you need to do for your well-being. And so you have a lot to learn from this. And I just went, okay, I'm game. You know, it's like this kind of stuff. Well, you know, I've been on spiritual journey for a long, many years, and I've done a lot of conversing with other spirits, beings, and my spirit animals. And this is not new to me to talk to an animal. It wasn't new. But I went, what's this journey? And he goes, well, just relax. We're just going to be flying from Mount Shasta. And I just went, flying from Mount Shasta? He goes, yeah, we're going to fly from Mount Shasta. I'll return your soul to your home. He said in a few days. I went, he said, yeah, this is what your soul is supposed to do. This is your soul path. I went, okay, I'm up for it. So, you know, it's like I'm game. I'm always open to spiritual adventure. And
Yeah.
so I just went along with it, and I just felt the energy of me flying. So the story is about that.
And it went on for 2 weeks, as I recall, which is that what to me is what's so extraordinary about it. You know, like people have spiritual experiences for, a minute, an hour, maybe a few hours.
Right.
But this is pretty wild. And so what was it like to stay present with your physical life while your soul is soaring around and you were conscious of it? I mean, I imagine these things happen all the time, but we're not aware that we're
Right.
straddling realities.
Right. What was it like? So I'm a very high energy person. My business, my channeling business is called High Vibe Life. I'm, you can see I'm a high vibe person. I'm very energetic. Um, I'm High Vibe Life. I live a really high energy life, and I move a lot, and I've done a lot of things in my lifetime, and I just do a lot. Um, so what it was like is we hiked back down the hill. And then when we were in the car, I finally told my husband what was going on. And he looked at me and he said, you know, he's very intuitive also. He looked at me and he said, yeah, I can see you're moving really slow because I'm a speedy person. I move fast. And even my tender young years of 72, I move really fast. And yeah, and and he goes, yeah, I can see you're moving really slow. My body felt like I was in slow motion. I was like, the energy felt like the kind of thing that someone would get really bored with most of the time, unless you were deep in meditation. I was moving very slowly, and I was,
Hmm.
you know, I'm kind of giving an example of how I was moving. And as you can see from my previous talk a second ago, this is not the way I move. So I was in very slow motion. And my mind was very low key. And I realized my body is going to not be doing as much while this is happening. mean, it took me quite a few hours to absorb what was going on because I kept
Mhm.
seeing myself. First, we flew over Mount Shasta. I could see the valleys that I know what it looks like. And then we started flying south from Mount Shasta to my home in Santa Cruz. And I could see the hilltops. Like I was viewing all this. I guess they call that remote viewing or something. Um, I was viewing everything and I was seeing what was going on in two spaces. So, but meanwhile, my body's in the car. We're driving home. I come home, we had already eaten. Oh, we had food we brought food in the forest with us. So I didn't eat. I went to bed early. I never go to bed at like 8 o'clock. That doesn't happen. I'm such a high vibe person. It's hard to get me into bed. So, I went to bed early. I was moving slow. The next morning, I woke up and when this was a Sunday, normally I'd try to do a lot of things on a Sunday. I did nothing. I walked around the garden. I talked to the plants. I think I took a walk, but it wasn't my usually brisk walk. I was just so quiet. I did hardly anything that day. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm supposed to be at work tomorrow. And I started trying to compute my work week. And I realized, luckily, thank you, great blessings, that I didn't have to work that hard that week because everything that needed to have been done was done the week before. And all I needed to do was maybe send a few emails, make few phone calls. The projects that I was working on at that time were kind of covered. So I was very blessed that no one was expecting a lot of work from me that week. It was pretty simple. And
Mhm.
so I was very lucky because all I have to do is turn on my computer and check in and it looks like I'm working, right? So, I gave people what they needed, but what I did was I pulled up a map. This was at the beginning of this century, so I don't think I was online. I think I literally pulled out a map, a physical map, and I was watching the map and I'm going, oh, we're here right now. So I was more busy looking at the map and tuning in to where my spirit was. And, every now and then I check into with my laptop to see if I was supposed to do something. I had the presence of mind to keep it, what could I say? Keep it together, for the work people who needed something. But I just didn't have to work very hard. So I was very lucky. And I just was watching on the map and I go, oh, we're here now. Oh, we're here. And the first afternoon we stopped that evening and I was like trying to pinpoint, where are we? And I'm looking at literally the ridges. I think online I pulled up some sort of geographical map and I'm trying to figure out like what ridge are we on here? So my mind was thinking, where are we? But my spirit was looking around at everything and feeling the energy of the eagle and what that was like. And the first couple of, I think then there was an exchange when we got to around Folsom Lake, the ridge above Folsom Lake. Then the eagle, the first eagle, which was a day and a half away from his home, said, I have to go back now. This is my friend, and he introduced me to a female eagle. And she said, well, I'm gonna fly you now. It was so interesting. It was like, and what did it feel like to be in two spaces? It felt like, well, my medicine woman one time said to me, you live in two worlds at the same time. She goes, you are very planted on earth. I'm a Virgo, I'm very planted on earth. And she goes, but you also have your head in the galactic realms. She goes, you are living two dimensions at the same time. And I looked at her and I said, I'm living about 10 dimensions at the same time. There's a lot more than just two. And she goes, yeah, it's true. That's exactly right. You are. So what's it like? Like watching 10 different TV screens all at the same time. You put 10 different TV screens and this channel's playing, this channel's playing, this channel's playing, this channel. And you have the awareness to really get what's going on each of the TV screens. That's what
Mm.
it's like.
Yeah. And so, like, why do you feel like this teaching that you're bringing really through your own experience is relevant to earthlings at this time?
It's relevant for people in the sense that we all need to rise into a higher awareness of understanding. If we can rise out of the pain, the suffering, the negativity, the the horrific things that are happening, it's like there's so much awful stuff everywhere. People like, oh my God, look at that, oh this, oh, there's the world is so crazed and people are treating each other so badly that we need to know there's a higher dimensional state in which we can reside. There's a higher awareness that we can live in to help raise the vibration on the planet. It is up
Mhm.
to us as light workers, as we know, to change the vibratory uh, resonance on this planet. The biofield is in an angry, negative place, and Mother Earth is reacting. Humans are,
Mhm.
there's a thing called outpicturing. Humans are acting a certain way, and the earth is responding. My understanding of that is like humans are making Mother Earth angry by the way they are treating her. And she's reacting with the fires and the hurricanes and the earthquakes, and people are making war. They're doing things that are unhealthy. They're treating people wrong. There's so many hungry people. There's immigrants that need help. There's people acting very, very badly, to say the least. That's like a low key way of saying what's really happening. And
Mhm.
and what we need to do, everybody, when we outpicture a different way of being, when we can reflect out there a different earth, a different awareness of more
Mhm.
peacefulness, more kindness, more loving of each other and our planet, we are creating a higher vibration, literally vibrating in the biofield on this earth. And when we can create that and be aware that there's so much more than what you hear on the news and what you see, if you're downtown and someone's having a fight or there's homeless people out there and you're going, oh my God, instead of, oh, this is a horrible place, everything's awful, send love, just give heart love. When I pass homeless people, I just say, oh, may your angels be with you. When I hear a siren, I just go, angels, please be with this situation. And so
Yeah.
if we're always holding back to what we said earlier, if we're always holding the sacred and we're staying in a prayerful way, whatever that means to you, I'm not telling anybody how they should believe in religiously, but whatever is your prayerful way of being, pray. If it's Jesus or Mother Mary or Magdalene or Buddha or, Allah or Great Spirit or Source or whatever, it's like, oh, Source, be with this. Great Spirit, God, Jesus, whatever, please be with this situation. Let's raise the vibration. So when you're aware of all these different dimensions, you can say, it doesn't have to be like that. I have the ability to change my life, and I have the ability to change this planet with what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and the energy I'm putting out there.
Yeah, indeed. Really beautiful. Well, many people are craving these deep spiritual experiences. Like I'm thinking of one person in my life in particular that's kind of like, well, why does that happen to you? Like, what about me? And like that doesn't happen to me. In other words, she creates this limitation for herself. And you are blessed that you have experiences like this, and it's just not true for everyone.
Right,
Um,
right.
so can we let's wrap this back into Mount Shasta. So what does
Okay.
Mount Shasta have to do with all of this and your own journey of awakening?
I'm going to say something about your friend. If I were working with her, I'd say, let's start flying. I would just take your friend and I would say, okay, I have a practice for you. Go stand on a cliff or go stand by the ocean. Go stand where it's open and open your arms and see if you see any birds. And why don't you make your body fly? You feel limited. Let's open up your limitations. And that's what I would
Mm.
say. Open up your limitations. What is your limitation? Because just by the very act of flapping your wings and pretending like a little child, like little children, yeah, little children love to pretend that they're flying, right?
Yes,
Or
it feels
what
good.
I do, what I always did, haven't done it lately, but a lot of my life, I would just go get on a swing set in a playground, and I would just swing, and I go, wee! It's like feel the flying motion, feel like you're flying,
Yeah.
because the feeling of flying opens up limitations. So Mount
Mm.
Shasta, yeah, Mount Shasta. Um, what can Mount Shasta offer? Well, first of all, Mama Mountain, she is one of the vortexes on this planet of divine source. And that's why galactic beings fly to her, because the galaxies and the earth, this is where heaven and earth come together. There are other vortexes on the planet, but I think one of the people in our group mentioned she's the root chakra. She's the grounding. Is that what they said? Did someone say that? That
Well, that is the general consensus. Although some people have such expanded experiences there that they say, well, it feels
she could
more like the crown
she
chakra,
could be the
you know?
crown, she could be the heart, she could be Mama Mountain can be anything. What does Mount Shasta have to offer? Um, what I know, this is what I know about going to Shasta. When I am in her presence, she is guiding me. She's literally telling me, okay, just listen. And all of a sudden, there's someone in front of me I'm supposed to meet that I've never met before. Everything
Mhm.
changes when you're there. If you have a plan or a schedule when you go to Mount Shasta, don't count on it happening. Because her emanation is so strong. Like I was talking about the vibration of the planet. Well, there's a vibration, an emanation coming from the mountain. She is alive. She is like a Mother Earth unto herself. If we can think of our planet as a Mother Earth, Mount Shasta is a Mother Mountain. And it's
Mhm.
like your mother is telling you what to do. Your mother's saying, go here, do that. You're going to meet this person. Don't expect this to happen, dear, because instead this is going to happen. And so she speaks, and you may not even understand or hear a voice. You just know all of a sudden, wow, people who are not as tuned into that, everyone who's lived there for any length of time knows this, but if you go there for the first time, you're going to go, oh, what a synchronicity, or what a surprise, or how did this happen? Isn't this interesting? I met this person. That's the way you'd think if you weren't aware of she's guiding you. you know um what does she have to offer? She has, well, I'm doing a retreat called Galactivate Your Cosmic Consciousness in August in Mount Shasta. And that's what she has to offer. Mama Mountain has the ability to literally open you up to your own cosmic consciousness. Literally. And I mean literally,
Mhm.
because we were talking
Mhm.
about all these dimensional states. Each of us has so many awarenesses based on our own soul experience of our soul arc, our lifetimes and our awareness of what's going on inside your soul. each of us has the ability to tune into these dimensional states. And when you are around the Mama Mountain, you are opening yourself to your own cosmic consciousness of the many dimensions that's your job to be aware of. We all have different
Mm.
missions. Our souls all have different missions on this planet, and each of us have the dimensions we're supposed to pay attention to. So not everybody has the same dimensions that they're living in. You know, you'll meet this person and they'll talk about something, then you'll meet someone else and they're talking about something, and then someone else has another thing, and you're going, wow, all these people are coming from completely different places. Well, yeah, everybody's having their own experience. You can take three people who are all at the exact same place at the same time, and each of them will have a completely different experience, you know? And so we're all living in our own dimensional experience that is our soul path. And what Mama Mountain does, what she offers is the raising up of your cosmic consciousness to be aware of what are those dimensions that are your job on this planet in this lifetime.
Hmm. Yeah, that's beautifully put. I really liked how you said that. And the name of your retreat is great. Galactivate your cosmic consciousness. Yeah, Mount Shasta is a master of that, just a
She
total
is.
master.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first moved there, I had a draw and I'd been there many times, but I was still really needing to open myself up to this expanded possibility, next layer, next level of my consciousness. And it worked. I happened to spend 4 years there, but I feel
Lucky
like
you.
this mountain. I know, lucky me. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, so much gratitude, so much.
Hmm.
And now I have found myself moving to the East Coast of the United States, and there is some understanding for me that I am carrying those frequencies with me from the
Yeah.
mountain to where I am now.
It sounds like you're doing the same thing that we just talked about. You know, you're bringing that emanation because having lived there for 4 years, you're emanating that galactic consciousness, multidimensional energy. And so people will then get it on the East Coast, wherever you are. The people you meet will pick up what you're putting out.
Yes. And it was my intention putting the book together uh, to be able to disseminate the frequencies of the mountain. Maybe not even by somebody visiting there or through someone who'd been
Mm,
there, but literally reading
right,
text and allowing yourself to receive a transmission from the mountain by doing
right,
that,
right,
writing them out into your dreams and so on. And
right.
I think it's very possible. And at this time in our collective evolution, as you're pointing out earlier, what a crazy mess everything is. We are also, many of us believe, on the cusp of a new earth, like really stepping into a higher way of living, being. Some call it fifth dimension, whatever that is exactly. I'd just love to hear your take on how you see, Mount Shasta's role in the evolution of the new earth.
I think what you're saying is true. People don't necessarily have to be in Mount Shasta for that experience to happen. By reading these stories, they're going to pick up the energy. The energy will infuse them just from as they read it. It might infuse their dreams. It might help their spirit to click and open up to whatever it is that their path is. Not everybody's path is Shasta, not but it will click them into opening up um what that is. And so how I see her role.
Yeah. Yeah, in the emerging new earth. Let's put it that way.
I think that if someone is not going to Mount Shasta, they can simply, I mean, get a nice picture. Just get a beautiful picture of her. She just looking at the photo, she's amazing. I noticed our book, you know, we had 9 different best-selling areas. I love the international bestseller, but two of the best-selling areas were so interesting. One of them was Western Mountains of the United States, and the other was touring Mount Shasta. Those were the
Mhm.
best-selling, you know, the areas of the
Category.
book, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Categories is the
the
word we're looking
categories,
for.
that's the word I was, yeah, the categories. So um those are categories where someone might just kind of be looking at, oh, there's a mountain there, right? In other words, am I considering looking at the mountains of the Western United States or looking at Mount Shasta specifically? That just getting a beautiful picture of her, I mean, she's incredible. You could just sit with a picture of her in a meditation wherever you are. I mean, we have someone who's
Mhm.
in Israel, right? It's like wherever you are, just looking at a photo and meditating on Mama Mountain, what do you have to offer me? What is it that I can learn from your energy? Because she is beaming the planet the way, you know, the way a tower that has like a, you know, EMFs will beam out, right? The way,
Like a
you know,
cell
we,
tower.
yeah, cell towers beam out. Mama Mountain is beaming out a spiritual beam to you. You
Yeah.
want to, she is. I mean, you know what I'm
Yes, it's
saying.
beautiful.
You're getting it,
I
right?
know.
You know what I'm saying. She is beaming a spiritual energy to you. And she can beam a spiritual energy to anyone if they choose to tune in. If this is your focus and you go, I want something from Mama Mountain, I think I like this energy, then just sit quietly with a picture of her and say, what is it that you are sending me? What is my message? And then just sit quietly in a meditation, ask the question and say, what is it? So am I to say what she has to offer humans? Well, I think I've said it, helping us raise the vibration, helping us change who we are. I can tell you when I tune into my soul pod under Mount Shasta, they're telling me all the time what needs to happen. So I'm not going to say that that's what every single person is going to be doing, but whatever it is, your message that you are to receive from her, I would say sit quietly in meditation and ask the way you'd pray to God, the way you'd pray to angels, the way you'd pray to, you know, nature, anything. Just say, what's my heart message? What's my soul message that I'm supposed to receive from you? It's a perfect first question for someone who doesn't know where to go or how to do it. I would say
Yeah.
sit quietly and ask the question of what she is here to offer you. And if you ask
Yeah.
me what she has to offer humanity, a lot. She has a way of telling us how we can literally change this planet. I know my Telosian people, my soul pod, they're telling me all the time what I'm supposed to do to change this planet. You know, they're like my teachers and they're going, you need to do this, you need to do that. They're my mentors. You know, they're telling me, go do this. Like I wanted to stay there, like you stayed for 4 years, right? Every time I go up there, I want to stay. And they just look at
Yeah.
me and they go, don't get too comfortable here, young lady. You just get your butt right back to the Bay Area because you're not here to relax and enjoy. You are strong and you are here to go out into the world and help raise people's vibrational level. You need to get out there and do your work. Don't get too comfortable in here in this pretty place. So,
That's
you know,
awesome. Yeah.
they keep sending me
Well,
right back to this area.
yeah, I guess that's where you need to deliver. So
That's
I
where
sincerely
that's where I need to be.
appreciate your excitement, your high energy, your enthusiasm, and your presence here. And it is my prayer that this conversation will light up some hearts. And if indeed anyone would like to work with you, you have this connection to the mountain. And I know you do long distance work as well. Like we can drop the links here in the description, and maybe someone will find their way to you,
I
Michele.
hope and pray. I'm here to help people. It's my mission. It's way more fun than working in Silicon Valley. I'm
Yes,
having I'm having the time of my life, and I do not intend to retire anytime soon.
you have way too much energy for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I figure I'll be working till I'm at least 85, maybe longer.
And what an inspiration for others. Yeah. All
Mm.
right. Well, let's close out. Big blessings. And thank you so much for
Thanks so
listeners.
much.
And
Lovely to connect with you. Thank you, Neesa, for everything. I love being part of this project. I'm so grateful. Thank you.